Hey guys, my name is Laura and I'm with A2J Tech. And in today's video, I will be showing you how to create a very simple kickout page. And as I've mentioned before, kickout pages are very useful for different types of situations. And in particular, they're very useful for determining whether a user is eligible to even take this interview. On that note, if you are having a client-facing interview, you want to bring those eligibility questions to the beginning of the interview as soon as possible to prevent them from filling out all this information and not even qualifying for the documents or even the rest of the questionnaire. And if you do plan on using this internally for your other lawyers, your paralegals, your law clerks, etc., I still recommend doing the same thing. And in addition to kicking them out, also recommending different workflows for them to take or different documents for them to fill out instead. Just because it can be a very frustrating user experience using kickout pages in this manner, but as long as you keep them in the beginning or at least within the first 2 pages of your interview, you should be fine. So here we have a list of questions from the JDF 1101 form. This is the petition for divorce in Colorado. A lot of divorces require residency requirements in order to even file for divorce. So in this particular interview, we need to create a kickout page if neither party qualifies for residency in Colorado. So for a very simple kickout page, all you need to do is make sure you have variables or questions linked to the kickout page. So before I dive into that, let me just run through the different questions I have. In this particular interview, I have multiple questions that you'll see in a later video that dives into a more complicated kickout page. But the super simple kickout page that we can make today is whether either party even lived in Colorado. So to do that, you just want to scroll down and make sure this is the page where you have your eligibility or residency requirements. So here, I recommend titling this Invisible Logic and naming what that invisible logic section does, because if you don't do this, you can get confused on which page is for which invisible logic calculation, especially if you plan on including more complicated invisible logic pages. So definitely start to get used to naming these. So we're just going to title this Invisible Logic, No Residency. So what I just did is I added a question type called invisible logic. And what we want to do is on this create a new variable page, we're going to create a new variable, a new yes/no variable. And we're going to title it no residency. And that variable is basically the variable that says that the residency requirement was not met. And the reason we're doing this is because on conditional page logic, you can only have one variable being referenced on Documate. This is a way around that to where we can address 2 variables, which is what's happening in our current case here, because we need to reference these 2 variables, whether the user has lived in Colorado and whether the spouse has lived in Colorado. So if the petitioner residency, you can see the variable names to the left right here. If petitioner residency is no, and you want to hit this plus here, and make sure this is and. If you use or, you're not going to get the result you want, because for this kickout page scenario, we want to make sure we're meeting these 2 answers. And if you use or, if the spouse is yes, or if the user says yes, we're still going to get kicked out of the page. So we want to be as specific as possible. And then spouse residency is no, then no residency is yes. So this is how we create two variables for the conditional page logic needed for the kickout page. The next step is creating that kickout page. Now for the kickout page, depending on who the user is, whether it's a client or a lawyer, paralegal, law clerk at your firm, you can change the way things are phrased. Usually I like to just say sorry on the title. When you add a question, make sure you select kickout page. So now all you need to do is just explain what is happening. So this explanation, as you can see, is meant for a client. If the client is taking this interview, you can reword this if this interview is meant to be used internally. So let me just reword this. So and to include different workflow links, all you need to do is copy that workflow link on your dashboard. So I'm just going to go click there. I'm just going to click, I'm going to copy this random workflow link. I'm going to go back to this kickout page and I'm going to give the workflow name, JDF, I think it was 577. And I like to provide a description of the workflow. We're just going to pretend this is a divorce document just to fit the description. So with Kickout Pages, if you want to link out to a workflow, you need to follow this syntax that I'm about to show you. You want to wrap your text that you want to hyperlink to with square brackets. And all you need to do is, in parentheses, paste the link, like so. In addition, if you want your kickout page to look nice, you need to use HTML syntax. So I'm just going to save this real quick so you can see that none of this spacing is going to transfer over. You see, none of this spacing is transferring over other than this break here. So what we want to do here is we want to include a break here and another break there. And additionally, I would also like to distinguish this workflow a little bit. So I'm just going to add a break clause here. And the way you do that is with, I'm not sure what these are called other than the alligator mouths. So you just wrap the letters BR in those alligator mouths because you're using HTML tags. And that's a paragraph spacing for HTML. And you want to do this again here, just so we have that additional spacing. Additionally, if you want to bold characters, you want to use that. You want to wrap your text that you want bolded in double asterisks. So as you see what I'm doing now, I'm going to save this and we're going to run that again so you can see the difference. See that? This is now bolded. This is now pushed down. And it also hyperlinks. It's been hyperlinking, but it hyperlinks out. I think I would prefer this bulleted as well, or bolded as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So now this is bolded. We have those breaks to section them out a bit, and they can click the description for the new workflow. Now that we have formatting down, for the kickout page, I am now going to add that conditional logic. So we're only going to show this kickout page if no residency is yes. I'm going to go ahead and save that. So now let's run this one more time. So no, we haven't lived in Colorado. You get that kickout page, which is exactly what we want. Let's run that one more time. Say, yes, we lived in Colorado, currently living in Colorado. Here we go. So it takes us past that kickout page to fill out the rest of the questions. So yeah, this is how you create a very simple kickout page using multiple variables for page logic. Now stay tuned for a new video about calculating eligibility using dates. It's not as simple as this, unfortunately, just because Documate doesn't have a date calculator like it does in the document tagger. You have to use invisible logic to compare dates, and you'll see that in a new video. In the meantime, I hope you have a nice day. And if you guys ever need an expert on Documate, don't hesitate to reach out to us.